Ever felt like giving up because life feels too overwhelming? You're not alone. Today, I'll share practical hacks to stay motivated every single day with a real-life story that'll inspire you to take action right now. Hi, and welcome to our channel, Trending Gossip Pod. My name is James.
And I'm Olivia.
And today we discuss self-help, success, and growth. In this video, we'll dive into the key reasons why we lose motivation, the science behind it, and actionable tips to reignite your drive. Plus, I'll share a relatable story that might just change how you approach life.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're tackling something I think we all struggle with.
Yeah.
Staying motivated.
Yeah.
And, especially when it comes to those big goals that we set for ourselves. We've got some interesting research and even a story.
Okay.
I think that'll really resonate with you.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? We start out, with all these best intentions and we're full of energy.
Right.
And then somehow that motivation just fizzles.
Right.
So the key is understanding why that happens and having some strategies in place to get back on track.
Absolutely. Because our sources point to a few common culprits.
Okay.
Like those overly ambitious goals. Those ones that just leave us feeling overwhelmed.
Right.
Or the frustration of not seeing progress quickly enough.
Yes.
And of course, there's the trap of seeking validation from others instead of focusing on what truly matters to us.
It's almost like our brains are wired to sabotage us sometimes. There's this inherent need for instant gratification that can really derail our efforts.
Yeah.
Think about it. You start a new fitness plan. If you don't see those results immediately, it's easy to just lose steam.
Oh, it's so true. We live in a world of instant everything. So, yeah, it's tough to be patient.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, let's talk about Rahul.
Okay.
Our sources tell his story, and it's a great example of how we can get tripped up by this need for instant results. He's a software developer who dreams of launching his own app.
Oh, a classic ambitious goal. I'm curious to hear how he fared.
Well, initially, he's all in, incredibly motivated.
Okay.
He's, organizing his time coding for hours on end, the whole 9 yards. But then 3 months in, the reality of how much work is left just hits him.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts to feel like he's barely made a dent in his project, and that feeling of failure, it creeps in.
I can see how that would be demoralizing.
Yeah.
When you're so bogged down in the day-to-day, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that's where Rahul hits a wall. He's ready to just give up.
Wow.
But then he has this pivotal conversation with his mentor.
Who gives him some game-changing advice? Focus on progress, not perfection.
That's such a powerful shift in perspective. It reminds me of the concept of chunking, breaking down these massive goals into smaller, more manageable tasks.
Right.
It's less about conquering the whole mountain at once and more about just focusing on the next step in front of you.
Right. And that's precisely what Rahul does. He shifts his mindset, to celebrate daily progress, focusing on those small wins. And fast forward a year, his app is a success.
Wow.
It really highlights the importance of consistency and celebrating those small victories along the way.
Absolutely. But, it's also important to recognize that willpower alone isn't always enough.
Right.
That's where having, a toolkit of practical strategies comes in.
I love that, a toolkit. Our sources actually outline 5 key strategies
Okay.
that I think we can all benefit from. They call them hacks, but I prefer tools because they're techniques we can use to build and maintain motivation.
I like that too. It takes the pressure off this idea of needing some kind of secret formula.
Exactly. So tool number 1, setting achievable daily goals.
Okay.
Instead of aiming for lose 10 kilograms, try a walk for 30 minutes today. Smaller, actionable steps that feel less intimidating and build momentum over time.
It plays into that dopamine reward system we were talking about earlier. Achieving a small goal triggers that sense of accomplishment,
right,
which reinforces that behavior. It makes us want to keep going.
I love that connection.
Right.
Okay. Tool number 2 is all about creating a reward system. This could be as simple as enjoying your favorite podcast after completing a task or planning a fun weekend outing as a reward for hitting a bigger milestone.
The key here is to be intentional about it. Don't just wait for the rewards to happen.
Right.
Plan them in advance. It's a way of training your brain to associate effort with pleasure.
It's like positive reinforcement, right?
Exactly.
Okay, on to tool number 3, the power of visualization. This one might sound a bit woo-woo, but there's actual science behind it.
It's not woo-woo at all. Our brains respond strongly to visual cues. So by vividly imagining yourself achieving your goal, You're essentially priming your mind for success.
So close your eyes for a moment
Yeah.
and really picture yourself achieving a goal you're working towards. What do you see? How do you feel? Hold on to that feeling because it can be a powerful motivator.
Absolutely. And don't just do it once. Make it a regular practice.
Great point. All right, next up, surround yourself with positivity.
Yes.
This could be anything from listening to motivational podcasts, reading inspiring books, to simply spending time with people who lift you up. And on the flip side, be mindful of the negative influences in your life.
Couldn't agree more. It's amazing how much our environment can affect our motivation.
Right.
We're constantly absorbing information and energy from our surroundings. So it's essential to be selective about what we expose ourselves to.
Right. Okay, last but not least, tool number 5. Track progress, not perfection. Whether it's a journal, a spreadsheet, or an app, find a system that works for you and use it to monitor your progress, however small it may seem.
Remember, it's about those incremental improvements over time. 1% better every day leads to significant growth in the long run. It's the compound effect in action.
That's such a powerful concept. Our sources made a brilliant analogy that really drives this point home. They compared motivation to brushing our teeth.
It's such a simple yet effective comparison. You know, we don't brush our teeth only when we feel like it, right? It's a daily habit, a non-negotiable.
We just do it. And that's the approach we need to take with motivation as well. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Even and perhaps especially when we're not feeling particularly motivated.
You hit the nail on the head, that consistency, that commitment to showing up, even when it's hard. That's often what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't.
So to recap, we've explored the reasons behind our motivation slumps, learned from Rahul's journey, and equipped ourselves with 5 powerful tools to boost our motivation.
It's been a great discussion, and it brings to mind a question for you. What's one small step you can take today to move towards a goal you've been putting off? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, just a small action to get the ball rolling.
I love that challenge. And remember, success doesn't happen overnight, but it does come to those who refuse to quit. So keep those goals in sight and keep moving forward one step at a time.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.